With your experience in store walks, what are the biggest lessons you've learned in terms of store walks, like in terms of about your company? Not necessarily about doing the store walks, but what are the kind of the moments that you had when your staff or yourself, you were doing the walks or the third party was doing them, that stood out and said, this is something I'm really glad I did this for, that and maybe the audience might be looking for to get some ideas of what they might want to do in their store walks to help find similar insights?
Well, a couple of things, I guess. One of the things that's concerning to me, and it's something our company is addressing, is the gap that we've got between what I call our first string and our second string players, and kind of an admission, but we need to develop our backup players a lot better. You find yourself doing floor walks or store walks at 9 o'clock, and they look pretty good. What I've found myself needing to do and wanting to do is more of them that fall during non-key times when the A team isn't there, so to speak. The most recent aha moment that we kind of had was we had a consultant that was working with us on another program, and she made a comment to me that just took me back, and she said, she stayed in one of our communities for a week and was doing some work, and she said, I've enjoyed your stores, they're great stores, but you have a different company from 8 to 5 than you have from 5 to 10 at night. And some of you may have heard that yourselves. It bothered me, so what I did was I called our third-party provider that works with us on our 3-star, and we did a surprise assessment from 5 to 8 o'clock at night in our stores unannounced. And we have 6 stores that participate in this, and on the last assessment, we had 5 out of 6 achieve a 3-star assessment, which is as good as you can get. And when they did their surprise assessment at 5, 6, 7, 8 at night, we had no 3-star assessments. So we had a little bit of an aha moment there. So we've kind of changed the rules a little bit here, but I think it's every bit as important that we get back to that consistency, that the consumer that shops at 7 o'clock at night gets the same treatment, gets the same great customer service, gets the same conditions and freshness that the individual that shops at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the morning gets. So that's our focus as a company going forward.
The biggest things that we've learned is pretty much the same thing. It's about gaps. And when you're in the stores, you basically have that opportunity to ask people, what's stupid in here? What are we doing that's wrong? What doesn't make sense from your perspective? And that really has helped us quite a bit. We also have a third-party company that comes in basically off of our receipts. It gives the customers a chance to give feedback to our company. One of the things that we noticed with that was that when all of the senior leadership team, pretty much all of us still work on Saturdays, but Sundays it's like no man's land, and the mice are in their play, and that was the worst stats that we got back from our guests. Were saying that conditions weren't as good, and they weren't as happy. So our top 24 leaders in the company signed up for then rotating on Sundays, and we've now got Sunday reports that we fill out, and we are seeing that number move. But again, some of those things are things that you find out on store walks.
Problem we had is we learned that what we were putting on our list many times was important to us. It wasn't necessarily important to the customer. Found that out the hard way when we go in and we'd be walking a store and a customer would say, well, you're out of this and you're out of that. Well, that's what's important to them at that moment, not that we've got X item merchandise next to Y item and all this great cross-merchandising going on. So we learned that, the simplistic part of the business, or the blocking and tackling, is, as we all know it, still has to get done. We also learned, and this is a hard one, you can't program everything. We try. If you don't leave the store some room for individualism, you're missing the boat of that neighborhood uniqueness. So yes, you want your company to have a brand. Yes, you want store to store to store to have the same feel, the same flavor. But, you know, those stores are in different neighborhoods. So if there isn't room on those lists for that individual corner uniqueness, you're missing a great opportunity to hone your store down to make it that individual customer store of choice. I think the final thing that we learned from our store walks is we were doing them, and we had these great lists, and we were getting them completed, and they would get stuffed in a file, and the next time we'd come around, new list, new store walk, they get done, we'd stuff it in a file, we'd do the same thing a third time around, and about the third time around, I'd say, list before last, did we have that? Wait a minute, pull that, go dig them out of the file. You guys know how this works, right? You get the last 3 lists out and you compare them, and we're talking about the same item month to month to month. So what we learned is we weren't very good at fixing the issues that we were finding. We were finding them. We weren't very good at fixing them. And we weren't very good at identifying the root causes. And many times the root cause was outside the store. So it was, you know, what leaked into the store walls, and those tentacles kind of manifested themselves. And, well, you wanted me to build this 14 inches off the ground. It's physically impossible. And we go back and take a look at it, and sure enough, we'd asked them that. Nobody ever went out and measured to see if it was feasibly possible in a store. So I guess those are the things that, you know, like you guys do every day, you know, it's a struggle in every store to keep up with that ever-changing demand. Nobody knows when it's going to snow. Nobody knows when it's a beautiful sunny day and everybody's going to go to the lake. You know, we don't know all those things. All we can do is react, because we're in the business of reacting to what happens store to store to store.